Like I said, Brendan, Aaron, it's a pleasure to meet you both. I appreciate you taking the time to chat. Usually, because of the time differences in Australia, I have to get up super early to talk to you guys. But these are always the conversations I love having. It's worth getting up. So I appreciate you guys taking the time
Thank you so much.
to talk all
Yeah.
things. I do want to kick off with the fact that I feel like it's impossible to talk about a show that has a plot about going to the moon without bringing up the Artemis launch that happened this year. I was obsessed with that when it happened. And I'm just curious to know where you guys sort of, or what your experience was with the Artemis launch, and if there's any takeaways or highlights from that launch for you both.
Oh, yeah, it's very exciting to have another flyby of the moon, right? Or not specifically a flyby, but anything with the moon. It's been a minute, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what an interesting point you brought up because I had not made that connection until just now of, oh, right, Dr. Stone, we're wrapping up, we're going to the moon,
Yeah.
and yeah, what an interesting parallel. What beautiful timing that is. Uh, yeah, it's cool. I think I moved to Los Angeles in 2020, and there have been a few launches. I believe they've been SpaceX launches
Hmm.
that have been visible from my home. I've seen like stuff in the sky, and I'm like, "What is that?" I'm looking up, and I'm like, "Oh, it's a lot. That's cool." Yeah, and it's really neat to see and have right in your backyard almost.
That's awesome. Aaron, for you, did anything stick out? Was there any highlights from the Artemis launch that you enjoyed?
I remember a friend uh who lives in Florida that I was on a phone call with being like, "Oh hey, gotta go watch the rocket launch. I'll be right back." He went outside and
That's
came back.
incredible.
That was really cool. Um I didn't know it was happening from Florida. I guess it is. I just based on that. Uh Yeah, and I guess it did also remind me, the fly around. It was really cool seeing, the far side of the moon, how it's so scarred and puckered from all of the asteroid hits that it has taken on behalf of our planet
Mm,
as this sort of guardian. Um, I
that's
love
incredible.
I love that. Eh,
I think it's incredible. I have that same sort of like giddy feeling that both you and your friends had for sure. Um, to talk about the show, talk about Dr. Stone. I love that it's a story about science and logistics, using that to find a way to save the world. And I'm curious to know, there's so much creativity that goes into art and to voice acting, but I feel like there's a lot as audience members we don't know about the science and logistics that go into voice acting. Is there things about voice acting that you feel have more of a science and a creativity to it that you think about when you are performing?
I think one of the most fascinating technical elements of voiceover, especially now in our post-pandemic world, is there's a lot of remote voiceover. So when we record anime, when we dub anime specifically into English, we are doing a style of recording called ADR, which means we are alone in a booth in the room itself. But on the other side of the glass, we've got an engineer and a director. Now, one of the cool technological innovations that we've been utilizing more and more is remote recording. So I live in Los Angeles. I used to live in Dallas. The studio, Crunchyroll's dubbing studios are in Dallas, and so I will go into the studio that remotely connects. We have video on both ends. The two Pro Tools sessions will synchronize and play back cues, and it is theoretically seamless on both ends, which is a really cool technological aspect of it.
That's so cool. Are there creative, sorry, are there technical elements for you, Aaron? Like even just like the way you prepare your voice or something like that. So obviously the creativity is a huge part of coming up with the voice, but are there technical or logistical things that you find in the body that you have to work on when you are preparing to do a voiceover role?
The most technical thing I do with Senku is I smile the whole time that I'm recording a Senku, and I kind of keep my face like this, and I look like a maniac or a panting coyote. But it gives him a certain scratchiness, and it captures, well, his face is usually a little bit like this.
Mm.
So this is exhilarating. Get excited. Like it just gives him that I don't know, zesty vibe. So that's the only technical thing that I do for that. And usually I can only keep one technical idea in mind per character, and I need the rest of my mind to think about things the character's thinking about. Um, the other technical side is it's effectively karaoke with a face, and you see the
Love
song
that.
one time instead of knowing the song by heart. You see the song one time with the Japanese performance, and then it's your turn, and hope you remember it. And if you don't, there we have the engineers and the directors to kind of catch you.
That's
And
incredible.
they make adjustments. They're able to squish and stretch your audio files and move them, and sometimes even if I struggle to say something one time and not the other, they can make a comp where they artificially cut one sentence and add it to another. Um, yeah, there's a lot that they can do with technology to sort of make
Super
me
amazing.
seem like I did better than I did.
It's the brave cool new world we live in, to be able to bring these awesome performances to life. I love as well within this series that voice mimicry is like integral to your character, Brendan, but that's this show as well. And it made me curious to know, when did you both realize you have these abilities that you have, when you were able to move your voice in ways that almost are resemblance of the voice mimicry we see in Dr. Stone?
A wonderful question. I think it kind of happened organically, naturally. I remember being a few years into my career and lamenting to another actor. I was like, yo, I'm having a great time and I'm doing good work, but I just feel like I don't have a lot of range. And they were like, what? I'm sorry, what? What? And so I think it just kind of naturally happened. I don't think I've always had it. I think for me the core has always been acting. Acting is acting, like living authentically in imaginary circumstances. But we play with our voices constantly. So I think
Mhm.
it's just natural for our voices to develop in interesting ways. We're trying things left and right constantly. And so I think by nature of the gig, we just eventually figure out we can do certain things, and it's a fun uh, discovery.
That's so cool. Aaron, for you, when was that first moment where you realized you have this sort of ability?
So on my end, I started about 10 years before I was already doing it 10 years before I thought I had any ability at it. So I was 9 when I first started, and my great talent was being the only pre-adolescent male that anybody knew at early Funimation when not a lot of people were auditioning.
Yeah.
Um, and so I could read and I could understand what I was reading and try to convey that as best I could. But I don't think, an especially good actor. I was fine.
Mm.
Um, and I certainly didn't have a ton of range for a long time. I was good at sounding like an awkward slash sometimes sassy child, and then an awkward sassy teenager because I was one. And then when I was in my early 20s, I started doing script adaptation,
Mm.
and that deepened my understanding of the shows I was working on. And then Tyler Walker was my script supervisor, and he was directing a show called Fairy Tale. And because I'd done scripts for that, he was like, "Hey, you should direct this." And I think it was directing that helped me start to get range. I got to start copying other actors and see the tricks that they came up with. And I also got to start articulating things that I was doing without thinking about it,
Mm.
and starting to think of how I could weaponize those things instead of just sort of subconsciously using them as I was playing karaoke in my head.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, right around Senku is when I started to think I had some talent,
Fascinating.
or I don't even know if I'd call it talent. It was skill, just from repetitious work over the
I
decades.
I'd be more than happy to call it a beautiful combination of both talent and skill, Aaron, because you guys are both incredible in this show. I'm about to get the wrap here. Thank you for the insight as well into that. That was really fascinating. But yeah, like I said, this show is really cool. Thank you so much for taking the time. I hope we get to talk again for whatever other projects you have coming up. But thank you guys for your time. Hope we get to do it
Yeah,
again.
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Thanks so much, Nick. Appreciate you.
Take care,
Appreciate
guys.
it.